Hello, my name is Peter Bayer. I'm an economics job market candidate at Toulouse School of Economics, and this is a short non-technical overview of my job market paper entitled Evolutionarily Stable Networks. Networks are important for a variety of economic decision-making. What we consume, how much education we get, how much crime we produce, and what opinions we hold, these are all dependent on who our friends are and what our friends do. To study the strategic formation of friendships, we have a branch of game theory called network formation games. The idea here, at least the standard idea, the Homo economicus approach, as I will call it, is that individuals are rational, and they will make these linking decisions, forming friendships, severing friendships, in order to maximize their payoffs. And as such, the social networks that we see in real life, are outcomes of this rational decision-making. Now, a twist to this story is from behavioral genetics, which has some evidence, that genes might be relevant for the size and shapes of individual social networks. And if this is true, then instead of networks being outcomes of rational decision-making, they are actually products of evolution by natural selection. And if this is true, then we should have a theory of networks that accounts for this. And this is exactly the goal of my paper. The goal of this paper is to have an evolutionary model of network formation. To do this, I combine evolutionary game theory and network formation games. The contribution is a new equilibrium concept, the titular evolutionary stable networks. And I bring insights in three applications: communication, collaboration, and homophily. The main result, under the assumption that strategies are assortatively matched, is that evolutionary stable networks are characterized by two things. The first is that individuals will link altruistically, as if they take other players into account. I will form my friendships, taking into account what other people think about this or how I affect other people by my friendships. And second is coalitional linking. So the networks that form will look like as if the pairs made decisions jointly. Instead of individuals maximizing for themselves, there will be pairs maximizing together. So this is the main characterization, and I will show you what this implies for the three applications. So first is called communication networks. Here, individuals build links to each other in order to obtain information, and by doing so, like subscribing to someone or following someone, and by doing so, they also provide information to the one that they link to. Here, the evolutionary stable network will be regular, which means that there will be equal information access as long as the players are all symmetric. Now, this is contrasted to the Homo economicus outcome, which is the Nash equilibrium of the game, which can have irregular networks and unequal information access. The mechanism that produces equality for the evolutionary stable network is altruism. Altruism produces a preferential linking to the poorest of players in the game. The poorest players of the game happen to be the ones with the least friends, with the least amount of information access. And if I prefer to link to always link to the poorest players first, then we will necessarily arrive to equal outcomes with regular networks. So the bottom line here is that there seems to be an evolutionary pressure for equal information access, again, as long as all players are symmetric in their value of information. The second application is collaboration networks. Here, pairs of players form links to work on joint projects. Each link is meant to be a collaboration, like producing a paper together, which is the original application of the game, called the co-authorship game. Here, the evolutionary stable network will happen to be the complete network. This is an extreme case. We shouldn't overanalyze the completeness of the network. The point here is that there will be way too many collaborations when compared to the Homo economicus outcome, which is the pairwise stable network. The source of the inefficiency, and this will happen to be inefficient. The source of this inefficiency is coalitional linking. Coalitional linking will lead us to agree to collaborations, even if it's bad for us, but good for our partners. This is not yet a source of inefficiency because at least our partner benefits, and in total we benefit. What produces the inefficiency is that with each new such link, our existing collaborators lose more than the value of the collaboration that I produce with my new partner. So with each new link, this happens. And until we actually reach the complete network, and that's actually the least efficient outcome. Again, the bottom line here is not that we reach the complete network, that everyone will collaborate with everyone. This is just a simple model to show that there seems to be an evolutionary pressure for overcommitment in collaboration. And finally, I turn to homophily. Homophily is the tendency to link to individuals who are like us. And as such, it is the source of inequalities and inefficiencies that arise from sort of self-imposed segregation. Now, Homo economicus models in this game will show that the strength of homophily that arises from the network will be proportional to the strength of in-group bias in the population. So if you show that most of your links are towards your in-group, the idea is that this is because you prefer to link to the in-group. So if we get rid of individuals who prefer the in-group, we will also get rid of homophily. This is not the case in the evolutionary setting. In the evolutionary setting, homophily will be much larger than the Homo economicus model will predict. It will actually be more than larger than what we would get from a proportional model to the strength of in-group bias. The mechanism here is that through altruism, individuals without in-group bias, without personal in-group bias, will conform to those who have the in-group bias. So we will have a rule of the loud minority of the ones who have preferential linking to the in-group. Even those with no such bias will link to the in-group. We can even get an extreme case where asymptotically I take the group size to get larger, and the population to become more tolerant. So the frequency of those individuals who have the in-group bias actually goes down to 0. Now, the Homo economicus framework will tell you that in the limit, there will be no homophily in the population. And in the evolutionary setting, we will have full homophily of the population. So there is a real divergence of predictions of the model. Again, this is just a very simple model. The bottom line here is that there may be a pressure for persistent segregation in this game. And this concludes my presentation. Here is some coordinates by which you can reach me. Please send me emails if you have questions or you have comments. I always like to talk about this. And thank you very much for watching.